The conference room smells like old leather and furniture polish. My hands rest in my lap, fingers laced together, knuckles white. Across the mahogany table, my daughter Cordelia leans back in her chair like she owns the building. Maybe she thinks she does. Mr. Grayson shuffles papers at the head of the table. His gray suit matches his gray hair, matches the gray sky outside the window. I can hear Cordelia breathing. Fast, excited. The sound makes my stomach turn. In the hallway 5 minutes ago, she leaned close. Her breath touched my ear, hot and sharp. "You'll get nothing, Mom," she whispered. Her perfume choked me. Something expensive, something Declan bought her for Christmas. Dad knew who really mattered to him. Get ready to downsize. That smirk. God, that smirk was exactly like her father's. I didn't answer. Just smoothed my black dress over my knees and walked into this room with my back straight. Let her think she's won. Let her believe it. Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Mr. Grayson clears his throat, opens the folder. The paper crackles in the silence. My name is Rowena Walsh. I'm 61 years old, and I've been sitting in this chair for 10 minutes, waiting to find out what 37 years of marriage bought me. Thank you all for coming, Mr. Grayson says. His voice is smooth, professional. He's done this 100 times. We're here for the reading of Declan Walsh's last will and testament, executed and notarized 6 months ago. 6 months. Declan knew he was dying and didn't tell me. Cordelia shifts in her seat. Her husband Trevor sits beside her, his hand on her knee. Supportive. Calculating. His eyes keep flicking to the folder like it's made of gold. Mr. Grayson reads the legal language. Sound mind, legal capacity, revokes all previous wills. My pulse hammers in my throat. My dress collar feels tight. To my daughter, Cordelia Ashford, Mr. Grayson says, I leave my collection of watches, my cufflinks, and a sum of $50,000. The air changes. Cordelia's breath stops, just stops, then starts again, sharp and fast. 50,000? Her voice cracks. That's it? Trevor's hand tightens on her knee. Mr. Grayson doesn't look up. Let me continue, he says. The room goes silent. So silent I can hear my own heartbeat. So silent I can hear the clock on the wall ticking. 1 second, 2, 3. Mr. Grayson turns the page. This is it. This is where Declan gives her everything. Where he proves she was always his favorite. Where 37 years of loyalty and sacrifice and invisibility add up to nothing. I wait. Cordelia waits. The room waits. Mr. Grayson reads, the entirety of my estate, including all business holdings, real estate, financial accounts, and assets, totaling approximately $185 million, I leave to my wife, Rowena Evangeline Walsh, who has stood beside me for 37 years with unwavering loyalty, patience, and grace. She has earned every cent. The words float in the air like smoke. Cordelia's face turns white, not pale, white, like someone drained all the blood from her body through a tap. Her mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Trevor's hand falls from her knee. I sit perfectly still, my hands still folded, my back still straight. But inside, something cracks open. Something I didn't know was locked. $185 million, to me. But 6 weeks ago, I didn't even know if I'd survive the funeral. I met Declan Walsh when I was 23 years old. It was a Tuesday morning in September. I remember because the light came through the office windows in gold bars, making everything look warm. I worked the front desk at Thornton Investment Group in downtown Chicago. Small firm, 6 employees. I answered phones, filed paperwork, made coffee that nobody drank. Declan walked in at 9:15. Dark hair, sharp suit, hands that looked strong when he signed the visitor log. He had a meeting with Mr. Thornton about a property development deal. When he smiled at me, I felt it in my chest. Rowena, he said, reading my nameplate. That's beautiful. Irish? My grandmother's name, I said. Mine too. He winked. Must be fate. 3 months later, we were engaged. 6 months after that, Married at Holy Name Cathedral with 50 guests and a reception at a hotel in River North. My mother cried. My father shook Declan's hand and told him to take care of his girl. Declan promised he would. I believed him. Our first apartment was in Wicker Park. Third floor walk-up, one bedroom. Kitchen so small we couldn't both stand in it at the same time. The radiator clanked all night in winter. The neighbors upstairs fought in Polish. But it was ours. I got pregnant 2 months after the wedding. Morning sickness hit me like a train. I threw up every day for 16 weeks. Declan held my hair back when he was home. Most nights he wasn't. He was working, building his career, building our future. Just a few more years, he'd say, kissing my forehead at midnight when he came home smelling like coffee and ambition. Just until I make partner, then everything changes. Cordelia was born on a Tuesday in March. 7 pounds, 4 ounces, dark hair like her father, green eyes like me. She screamed for the first 3 months straight. Colic, the doctor said. Nothing you can do but wait it out. I waited. I walked the apartment at 3 in the morning, bouncing her, singing songs my mother sang to me. Declan slept through it. He needed rest for work. I understood. I understood because that's what wives did. We understood. Cordelia stopped screaming when she turned 4 months old. Then she started watching everything. Her eyes followed me around the room like she was taking notes. Smart baby, everyone said. Going to be something special. They were right about the smart part. I stayed home with her. Declan's salary covered the rent, the bills, groceries if I was careful. I learned to make 1 chicken last 3 dinners, learned to shop sales, learned to smile when Declan came home too tired to ask about my day. When Cordelia turned 5, Declan's company went public. The money started rolling in like a river that never stopped. We moved to Lincoln Park. Real house, real yard, real furniture that didn't come from thrift stores. I planted roses in the front garden, red ones. They bloomed every summer, thick and heavy, smelling like promises. But here's what I didn't know then. I was building Declan's empire while he was building my cage. The Lincoln Park house had tall windows that let in morning sun. 4 bedrooms. Hardwood floors that gleamed when I polished them. A kitchen with marble counters where I made breakfast every morning. Eggs for Declan, pancakes for Cordelia, oatmeal for myself. Cordelia started piano lessons, ballet classes, private tutoring for math because she was gifted. The teacher said it like being smart made her special. Like being smart meant she deserved more than other children. Maybe that's when it started, the entitlement. By the time she was 12, we'd moved again. Kenilworth this time. Mansion with 7 bedrooms. View of Lake Michigan from the master suite. Staff quarters for the housekeeper and cook. A garage that held 4 cars. Declan's face was in the papers now. Business magazines, society pages. He'd shake hands with mayors and senators. I'd stand beside him in designer dresses, smiling, silent, perfect. "This is my wife, Rowena," he'd say to important men. They'd shake my hand, forget my name immediately. Turn back to Declan. I became furniture in my own life. Cordelia watched all of it, watched how Declan treated me, watched how other people treated me. She learned fast. At 13, she started correcting my grammar at dinner. At 14, she told me my clothes were embarrassing. At 15, she stopped hugging me goodbye when I dropped her at school. "Mom, you're acting desperate," she said once when I tried to kiss her cheek. I stood in the school parking lot, watching her walk away. Designer backpack, $200 shoes, hair shiny from salon treatments. She didn't look back. That night, Declan came home at 11. I was in bed pretending to read. "Cordelia says you're smothering her," he said, taking off his tie. I tried to kiss her goodbye. "She's a teenager, Rowena. Give her space. She's my daughter. And she's growing up. Let her." He got into bed, turned off the light. The conversation was over. I lay in the dark, listening to him breathe. The house was so big that the silence felt heavy, oppressive, like living inside a museum where I wasn't allowed to touch anything. Cordelia's high school graduation was at Ravinia. 500 people watched her accept her diploma. Top of her class. Full scholarship to Northwestern. though we didn't need it. Declan was so proud he couldn't stop smiling. She gave a speech about ambition and success and making your own path. Everyone clapped. The mothers around me whispered about how impressive she was. I watched her on that stage, beautiful and brilliant and cold, and thought, by the time she graduated high school, she looked at me the way Declan did, like I was furniture. The ivory is wrong, Cordelia said, holding up 2 fabric swatches. This one's too yellow, that one's too gray. Can't you tell the difference? We were in the wedding planner's office, 10th floor of a building in the Gold Coast, windows overlooking Michigan Avenue. The planner, a woman named Sienna with perfect nails, nodded like Cordelia had said something profound. I can see that, I said carefully, but they both look beautiful. Cordelia dropped the swatches on the table, looked at me like I'd failed a test. Never mind, I'll decide myself. The wedding was going to cost $400,000. Declan didn't blink when he wrote the first check. Whatever my girl wants, he said. His girl wanted everything. Flowers flown in from Ecuador, champagne from France, a dress that cost more than our first apartment, a band that played at the Grammys, a venue that usually only hosted corporate events for Fortune 500 companies. I planned every detail because that's what mothers do. I called vendors, confirmed menus, arranged seating charts. Cordelia criticized every choice. The string quartet isn't famous enough. The dessert table looks cheap. Did you really pick those centerpieces? 3 days before the wedding, I found her crying in her childhood bedroom, dress hanging on the door, makeup scattered across the vanity. She looked young for a moment, vulnerable. Sweetheart, I said, sitting beside her. What's wrong? She wiped her eyes, smudged her mascara, looked at me in the vanity mirror. I'm scared, she whispered. My chest ached. That's normal. Everyone gets nervous before... Not about the wedding. She turned to face me. About ending up like you. The words hit like a slap. What? You know, Mom, just existing, not doing anything, not being anything. Just Dad's wife, just somebody's mother. You should have done something with your life instead of just this. She waved her hand at me, at my dress, at my face, at everything I was. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't speak. She turned back to the mirror, started fixing her makeup. I'm going to be different. Trevor and I have plans, real plans. We're going to build something. I stood up. My legs felt shaky. I'm glad, I managed to say. On her wedding day, I helped her into her dress. $40,000 of silk and lace. She looked like a princess, like everything she'd always wanted to be. You look beautiful, I said. I know, she replied. The ceremony was perfect. The reception was perfect. Cordelia danced with Declan while everyone watched. Her smile was so bright it hurt to look at. I smiled through 400 photos that day. In every single one, I looked like a ghost. 3 months later, I found the folder. Declan's office was off limits, his space, his sanctuary. 20 years of marriage, and I'd only been inside maybe a dozen times. Always with permission, always for a reason. Rowena, can you find the Westmont contract? He'd asked that morning, Tuesday in October, rain tapping the windows. Should be in the filing cabinet, second drawer. He'd left for a meeting downtown. The house was quiet. Even the housekeeper had Tuesdays off. I walked into his office, dark wood, leather furniture, awards on the walls, photos of him shaking hands with important people, not a single picture of me or Cordelia. The filing cabinet was locked. Of course it was. But I knew where he kept the key, magnetized to the underside of his desk drawer. I'd seen him retrieve it once, years ago. The key fit smoothly. The drawer opened with a soft click, folders lined up like soldiers, labeled in his neat handwriting, Westmont Development, city permits, tax documents, personal, personal. My hand hovered over it. This wasn't the Westmont file. This was something else, something private. I should have closed the drawer, should have kept looking for what he'd asked me to find. But my fingers wrapped around the folder, pulled it out, opened it. Credit card statements, dozens of them, highlighted in yellow. Hotels I'd never heard of. Le Bernardin in New York. The Peninsula in Beverly Hills. Restaurants in Miami, Los Angeles, Boston. Dates when Declan said he was at conferences. Business trips, client meetings, jewelry purchases. Tiffany, Cartier, Van Cleef and Arpels. None of it given to me. Women's clothing from Neiman Marcus. Size 4, I wore size 10. A lease agreement for an apartment in downtown Chicago. Gold Coast address, $2,500 a month, starting 5 years ago. My hands started shaking, the papers rattled. More receipts, flowers delivered to that Gold Coast address, chocolate from a boutique shop, wine, dinners for two at restaurants I'd only read about in magazines. 5 years of evidence, maybe more. Page after page after page. The floor came up to meet me, or maybe my knees gave out. Either way, I was sitting on the hardwood, papers scattered around me like leaves, and I couldn't catch my breath. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I read receipt after receipt. Hotels, flowers, women's clothing. None of it for me. None of it for me. None of it for me. How many women? How long? How blind had I been? I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. The light shifted through the window. The rain kept falling. Eventually, I stood, put everything back exactly how I'd found it. Locked the drawer, replaced the key. Found the Westmont file in the third drawer, where it had been all along. I washed my face in the downstairs bathroom. Cold water, soap. My reflection looked like a stranger. That night, I made his favorite dinner. Steak, mashed potatoes, green beans. Set the table with cloth napkins, poured his wine. He came home at 7, kissed my cheek, sat down. I waited until he'd taken 3 bites. Declan, are you having an affair? He looked up from his plate, blinked, then laughed. Actually laughed. Rowena, where is this coming from? I found the receipts. The laugh died. His face changed, went smooth, empty, cold. So you were snooping. You asked me to find a contract. And you decided to invade my privacy. My throat closed. Declan, listen. He set down his fork, folded his hands, spoke to me like I was a child who'd misbehaved. I've worked my entire life to build what we have. Everything you enjoy, this house, your lifestyle, your comfort, exists because of me. What I do outside of this house is my business. What happens in this house is yours. That's the arrangement. We never agreed to that. Yes, we did. His eyes were flat, dead. The day you said I do. He picked up his fork, started eating again. The conversation was over. When I asked him that night, he didn't deny it. He just laughed. Then he said something that changed everything. I started documenting everything the next morning, opened a new email account, one Declan didn't know about, downloaded every credit card statement I could access, photographed receipts before he shredded them, tracked his calendar against hotel charges, noted every discrepancy. Tuesday, October 15th. Calendar says, board meeting, Chicago. Credit card shows Ritz-Carlton, Boston. Dinner for 2 at L'Espalier, $573. Thursday, November 3rd. Calendar says, site visit, Milwaukee. Amex shows Four Seasons, San Francisco. Flowers delivered to room 812. $240. I kept a spreadsheet. Dates, locations, amounts, evidence. Every morning, I made him breakfast, kissed his cheek, asked about his day. Every night, I slept beside him in our bed with the 1,000 thread count sheets. Every weekend, I attended his charity galas in dresses he bought me, smiling at people who didn't know my name. And every moment I was alone, I built my case. I opened a bank account at a different bank. Small one. Just checking. Started transferring money from the household account. 200 here, 300 there. Amounts small enough he'd never notice. By Christmas, I had $14,000 saved, just in case. Cordelia called once in November. Needed money for a trip to Cabo. I transferred $5,000 to her account. She didn't say thank you. Declan traveled constantly. New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Houston. Every city had a hotel charge. Every hotel had room service for two. Every trip, he came home smelling like someone else's perfume, and I said nothing. I photographed every receipt, tracked every hotel charge, built a case against the man I slept beside every night. The holidays came. We hosted Christmas dinner for 30 people. I cooked for 3 days. Cordelia showed up 2 hours late, complained about the turkey being dry, left before dessert. She's busy with her own life, Declan said, watching her drive away. Stop taking it personally. I cleared plates, washed dishes, threw away $1,000 worth of food that nobody ate. New Year's Eve, we went to a party at the Drake Hotel. Declan spent the night talking business with men in expensive suits. Their wives stood in clusters, discussing vacation homes and spa treatments. Nobody asked me anything. At midnight, Declan kissed my cheek. Happy New Year, Rowena. His phone buzzed. He checked it, smiled at the screen, put it away. I watched him walk to the bar for another drink, and I knew. This was my life. This was my marriage. This was everything I'd earned by being loyal. 2 months later, on a Tuesday in March, everything changed. Then on a Tuesday morning in March, his assistant called. Declan had collapsed. By noon, everything had changed. The phone rang at 11:47 a.m. I was in the kitchen making lunch I wouldn't eat. Chicken salad. The phone screen said, Briar Kendrick, Declan's assistant. Mrs. Walsh? Her voice shook. It's Declan. He collapsed. We called 911. They're taking him to Northwestern Memorial. My hands went numb. The phone almost slipped. I'm coming. I drove 70 miles per hour down Lakeshore Drive. Ran 3 red lights. Didn't care. The hospital parking garage was full. I left the car in a loading zone. The ER waiting room smelled like antiseptic and fear. A nurse led me to a small room with blue walls and a box of tissues on the table. Bad sign. The doctor will be right with you, she said. I sat, waited. My heart hammered against my ribs. Dr. Patel came in 10 minutes later, young, tired, sympathetic. Mrs. Walsh, your husband suffered a massive stroke. There's significant bleeding in his brain. We're doing everything we can, but... He paused. You should call family. I called Cordelia. She didn't answer. I texted, Your father had a stroke. Northwestern Memorial. Come now. She texted back 20 minutes later. In a meeting. Be there when I can. I sat in the ICU waiting room. Fluorescent lights. Coffee that tasted like dirt. Families crying. Machines beeping. Time moved like honey. 3 hours passed. Dr. Patel came back. His face told me everything. I'm so sorry. We lost him at 2:47. Declan Walsh, 69 years old, dead. I should have cried, should have screamed, should have felt something. Instead, I felt air fill my lungs for the first time in 2 years. Relief. Cordelia arrived at 4:30, still wearing her work clothes. Trevor with her. She hugged me stiffly. Her perfume choked me. What happened? She asked. Stroke. He's gone. She started crying. Real tears, loud sobs. Trevor held her while she shook. I watched her perform grief like an actress in a movie, and I felt nothing. The funeral was 4 days later. Hundreds of people came. The church was packed. Politicians, business associates, society wives in black designer suits. People I'd never met who claimed to be Declan's best friends. They told me how lucky I was, how generous he was, how brilliant, how irreplaceable. I thanked them, accepted condolences, kept my face composed, played the grieving widow perfectly. Cordelia gave a eulogy. Her voice broke as she talked about what an amazing father he'd been, how he'd supported her dreams, how he'd taught her to be strong, how she'd never stop missing him. The crowd nodded, dabbed their eyes, whispered about how brave she was. I sat in the front pew and wondered if she actually believed her own words. After the service, Trevor pulled me aside, put his hand on my shoulder, gave me that look people give when they think they're being profound. Rowena, we're here for you. Whatever you need. Your family. I thanked him. Didn't mention I'd heard him and Cordelia whispering in the hallway during the visitation. Words like assets and inheritance and finally. That night, alone in the house, I stood at the bedroom window, looked out at Lake Michigan, dark water, no moon. The house felt enormous and empty around me. 37 years of marriage, and the only emotion I felt was relief. 1 week later, Mr. Grayson called about the will. Sunday night, I couldn't sleep. I stood at the bedroom window in my nightgown, watching the lake. No stars. Just black water and black sky bleeding together. The heating system hummed. The house creaked. Every sound felt too loud. Tomorrow morning I'd find out what Declan had left me, what 37 years of loyalty bought, what my sacrifice earned. The house. Maybe. A trust fund. Probably. Enough to survive, but not enough to matter. The real money would go to Cordelia, his precious daughter, the one who inherited his ambition and his cruelty and his smile. I thought about the credit card statements hidden in my closet, the receipts, the evidence of every affair, the proof of every lie. Did it matter now? He was dead. The women were gone. The secrets buried. What was I fighting for? I went back to bed, didn't sleep, watched the ceiling, waited for sunrise. Monday morning I dressed carefully. Black dress, simple. Low heels. Pearl earrings Declan bought me for our 10th anniversary. I pulled my gray hair into a neat bun, looked at myself in the mirror. Widow, older woman, invisible. The drive downtown took 40 minutes. I parked in the garage under Mr. Grayson's building, rode the elevator to the 14th floor. My reflection in the brass doors looked small. Cordelia and Trevor were already in the waiting room. She wore a cream suit, designer, heels so high they could be weapons. Her hair was perfect, makeup perfect. She looked like she was going to a photo shoot, not a will reading. When she saw me, she didn't stand, didn't hug me. Mom. Cordelia. Trevor stood, shook my hand. Rowena, how are you holding up? I'm managing. Mr. Grayson appeared in the doorway. Gray suit, gray hair, gray expression. Mrs. Walsh, Cordelia, Trevor, please. Come in. We walked down the hallway. Cordelia moved closer to me, leaned in. Her breath touched my ear. You'll get nothing, Mom. Her voice was quiet, vicious. Dad knew who really mattered to him. Get ready to downsize. That smirk, that same smirk. I didn't answer, just walked into the conference room, took my seat, folded my hands in my lap, let her think she'd won. Mr. Grayson sat at the head of the table. The folder in front of him was thick, official, final. This was it. This was where I'd find out if 37 years of loyalty meant anything at all. Mr. Grayson opens the folder. The papers inside are crisp, white, expensive looking. My throat feels tight. Thank you all for coming, he says. Professional voice. He's done this 100 times. We're here for the reading of Declan Walsh's last will and testament. Executed and notarized 6 months ago. 6 months. Declan knew he was dying, knew what he was doing, didn't tell me. Cordelia leans forward in her chair, her fingers drum the armrest. Excited, eager. Trevor's hand rests on her knee. Supportive husband, calculating mind. His eyes stay locked on the folder. I sit perfectly still, my hands folded, my back straight. I learned this posture at charity galas. Smile, posture, silence, be decorative. Mr. Grayson reads the legal language. Sound mind, full capacity. Revokes all previous wills and codicils. The words blur together. My pulse hammers in my ears. Now, to the specific bequests, he says. The room goes quiet. So quiet I can hear the air conditioning. The clock on the wall. My own heartbeat. To my daughter, Cordelia Ashford, I leave my collection of watches. Valued at approximately $30,000, my cufflinks, and a sum of $50,000. Silence. Then Cordelia's breath, sharp, fast, disbelieving. 50,000, her voice cracks. That's it? Mr. Grayson looks up, his face stays neutral, professional. Let me continue, please. Cordelia's face flushes red. There must be a mistake. Dad wouldn't... Let him continue, Trevor says quietly. His hand tightens on her knee. Mr. Grayson clears his throat, looks back at the document. This is it. This is where Declan makes up for that insult, where he gives her the real inheritance, where he proves she was always his favorite. I wait. The room waits. Cordelia waits. Mr. Grayson turns the page. The paper crackles. He reads, "The entirety of my estate, including all business holdings, real estate, financial accounts, investment portfolios, and assets, totaling approximately $185 million, I leave to my wife, Rowena Evangeline Walsh." The words hang in the air. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Mr. Grayson continues, "Who has stood beside me for 37 years with unwavering loyalty, patience, and grace, who sacrificed her own ambitions to support mine, who raised our daughter with devotion, who never once complained, never once wavered, never once asked for more than I was willing to give. She has earned every cent." Cordelia's face goes white, not pale, white, like every drop of blood drained out through her feet. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again. No sound comes out. Trevor's hand falls from her knee. His face goes blank, calculating, already figuring angles. I sit frozen, my hands still folded, my spine still straight. But inside, something breaks open. Something I didn't know was locked. $185 million. To me. "This can't be legal," Cordelia whispers. Then louder, "This can't be legal." Mr. Grayson looks at her over his reading glasses. "The will was properly executed, witnessed, notarized. Your father was of sound mind. It's entirely legal." "He wouldn't do this." Cordelia stands. Her chair scrapes the floor. "He wouldn't leave me nothing. I'm his daughter. You received $50,000 and his personal effects," Mr. Grayson says calmly. "That's nothing!" Her voice breaks. "That's an insult." Trevor stands, touches her arm. "Cordelia, let's—" She jerks away from him, turns to me. Her eyes are wild, desperate. "You did this. You manipulated him. You—" "I did nothing," I say quietly. My voice surprises me. Calm, steady, strong. "You did something." She's shaking now. "You poisoned him against me. You made him—" "I made him nothing." I stand, look her in the eyes. I was loyal, I was faithful, I stayed, that's all. "This isn't over," she says, vicious, threatening. "I'll contest this. I'll fight." "You can try," Mr. Grayson says, "but I should inform you that Mr. Walsh included a no-contest clause. If you challenge the will and lose, you forfeit the $50,000 as well." Cordelia stares at him, then at me. Her face twists, rage, grief, disbelief. She grabs her purse, storms toward the door. Trevor follows, throwing me one last look. Calculating, cold. The door slams, silence. Mr. Grayson closes the folder. "Mrs. Walsh, we have paperwork to complete. Asset transfers. Tax documentation. It will take some time, but everything will be properly handled." I nod. Can't speak yet. "I'll give you a moment," he says. Leaves the room. I stand alone in the conference room. Look out the window at Lake Michigan stretching to the horizon. Gray water, gray sky, beautiful. $185 million. Every cent. The next 6 weeks blur together like shuffling cards. Lawyers, accountants, financial advisors, everyone wanting meetings, everyone explaining things I already understand. The estate is complicated. Business holdings, real estate, investment portfolios. It takes time to transfer everything. I sell the Kenilworth house. Too big, too empty, too many ghosts. Buy a smaller place in Evanston, 3 bedrooms, garden space, view of nothing but trees and sky. I donate Declan's clothes. His watches, his cufflinks, everything except the evidence I collected. That stays locked in a safe deposit box, just in case. Cordelia calls once, 3 weeks after the will reading. I let it go to voicemail. "Mom, we need to talk. This isn't fair. Dad wasn't thinking clearly. We're family. Call me back." I delete it. She tries twice more, then stops. I hire a financial advisor. A woman named Kira with sharp eyes and zero patience for nonsense. She helps me understand what I have, what it means, what I can do. You could live comfortably for the rest of your life on the interest alone, she says. But what do you want to do with it? I think about that question for days. What do I want? I start small, donate to women's shelters, organizations that help people leave bad marriages, scholarships for single mothers going back to school, programs that teach financial independence. I'm careful, strategic. This money represents 37 years of my life. I won't waste it. 3 months after Declan's death, I run into Sienna, Cordelia's wedding planner, at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. She recognizes me immediately. Rowena, I heard about Declan. I'm so sorry. Thank you. And I heard, well, I probably shouldn't say, but I heard about the will. Good for you. She leans closer, lowers her voice. Cordelia called me last month, wanted to plan a party, asked if I'd do it on credit until her inheritance situation resolved itself. I told her I only work with payment up front. She smiles. She hung up on me. I smile back. Good policy. 6 months later, I'm having lunch with my financial advisor when I see them. Cordelia and Trevor, sitting 3 tables away. She's thinner, tired looking. Her designer suit doesn't fit quite right anymore. Trevor's on his phone, ignoring her. She sees me. Our eyes meet. I could go over there, could say something, could gloat or apologize or explain. Instead, I signal for my check. Stand, walk past their table without stopping. Mom, Cordelia says. I keep walking. She doesn't follow. I drive home to my small house with the garden, make tea, sit in the sunroom and watch birds at the feeder. The silence doesn't feel heavy anymore. It feels peaceful. That night, I think about what Declan wrote in his will. She has earned every cent. He was right. I did earn it. Every betrayal. Every cold shoulder. Every night lying beside someone who saw me as furniture. Every smile at people who didn't know my name. Every sacrifice for a daughter who learned to hate me. I earned it. But here's what I learned. Loyalty has value, even when people don't see it. Silence can be power, not weakness. And sometimes, the people who count you out are the ones who lose count. If you've ever been told you're not enough, or treated like you don't matter, or made to feel invisible in your own life, remember this. Your worth isn't determined by people who can't see it. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the one who wins in the end. To anyone fighting their own battle right now, your comeback doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. Stay patient, stay sharp, and trust that everything you've endured is building something stronger than anyone realizes. What hit you hardest from Rowena's story? And if you were in her position, would you have stayed silent or confronted them earlier? Don't stop here. Click the next video on your screen right now and watch another story from our channel. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a story, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.